there. So there's just a tremendous amount of disinformation on this whole thing.
Well, let's go over the facts and how the monetary system works briefly and where the bankers have taken us, at this point. And then let's get into the solutions that are in your film. But I think the allegory of the wonderful Wizard of Oz is the best place to start, as your film does. We're about to go to break, but let's start getting into that right now, the parallels in the book.
Well, like it said in the trailer, the biggest piece of symbolism is the silver slippers on the yellow brick road. Dorothy's slippers were only made to be ruby in 1939 when the film was made, because that's when the Technicolor process was new, and so they changed the silver slippers, which is what it was in the book, to ruby slippers for the movie, and thereby most of the rest of the symbolism was lost in history. But if you go back to the book and you look at the illustrations, Dorothy's slippers were silver, and that was the symbolism. The silver slippers, which basically was a less controlled, more abundant form of money, allowed Dorothy to tread safely on the dangerous yellow brick road, the gold money standard. All
right, stay there. We're going to go to the Emerald City, the man behind the curtain, all of it. Straight ahead. Stay with us, folks. This is key information, The Secret of Oz. Straight ahead.
Don't answer it.
If fear strikes your heart when the phone rings, knowing it may be another bill collector, it's time for you to call Zero Debt in 90 days. 800-477-9256. Settlements, bankruptcy, and attorneys are not the answer and may end up costing you up to 10 times more than necessary. Listen, if you're already in debt, does it make sense to get buried in another payment plan? Zero Debt in 90 days gets you out of debt in 90 days guaranteed, without a payment plan and without attorneys or going to court. Get the fastest relief from debt on the planet when you call 800-477-9256. If you have debt with the IRS, credit cards, student loans, or a foreclosure, we can help at Zero Debt in 90 days, and we are the only organization to provide written guarantees on the results. Go to ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. That's ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. Or call now for free information. 800-477-9256. That's 800-477-9256.
The question is, where should the American people draw their line in the sand?
What have we got? A republic or a monarchy?
A republic is based on a constitution which protects minority rights.
Not democracy, not mob rule, two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
So they think they own our land, they think they own our water, children, our education, our money.
We have to define who we are and what we will tolerate.
Somebody's going to ask you what you did during the Patriot Uprising.
You have been warned.
We have the facts. We have the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights. We have common law. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so excited to be able to offer you Don't Tread on Me, Rise of the Republic. Tyranny is upon us, but liberty and the sleeping giant that is the American people is rising. A new tool in the Infowar. Don't Tread on Me. Order it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139 and support independent, patriotic Liberty films.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
Hello, this is Alex Jones with some important questions. If you're going into a battle and they give you a rifle and a sidearm, how much ammunition do you want? My answer would be all I can get. In the battle for freedom and the lives of your loved ones, food is your only ammunition. How much do you want? When do you want it? Now or after the battle starts? When will you need it? Can you buy it without proper identification? Will there be any food? Will it make your children sick? If there's a quarantine and you can't feed yourself, will you go to the gathering center and be immunized? You wipe out all these problems if you have a good food supply. Food is your ammunition to fight for your freedom and your life. How much will you need? We don't know. How much do you want? All you can get. I'm Alex Jones. I want all of you good guys to live to fight another day. Call 1-800-409-5633 or check it out on the web at efoodsdirect.com. Again, that number, 1-800-409-5633.
If you go back to the founding of this country, they were fighting fractional reserve bankers and money manipulators. You go back to Christ's time, he was fighting the money changers. Now you go study ancient Chinese history. 3,000 years ago, they were having revolts over this, the manipulation of money. If you look at Abraham Lincoln and before that Andrew Jackson, it was all about the banks. The Wizard of Oz is about the banks and money. This is the issue, because if you let private groups control your issuance of currency and credit through different manipulations, you will be a slave. What did Thomas Jefferson say? If we ever let private banks and the corporations that grow up around them control the issuance of currency and credit, our children will grow up homeless on the continent their forefathers conquered. This is what we're talking about. And Bill Still, the maker of the new film, The Secret of Oz, he is such an excellent filmmaker, such a great researcher. Continue. You've gotten up to the silver slippers on the yellow brick road. Continue.
Well, let me continue with what you were just saying. And yet, all of these things throughout history have disappeared from history books. So you have to ask yourself why. And the reason is that the banks control so much through loans, and that's why I have a friend who was just laid off from a major television network, and he's so mad at Morgan Bank because it came down to whether this TV network was going to pay the interest on their loans or they're going to lay off like the top 20 or 30 execs in this TV network, and so they laid off the execs. So, that's how banks control the media. They don't necessarily have to own them, but as long as you're mortgaged out to the max, any business that's mortgaged out to the max can't go against the bankers. That's why you see essentially rule by banker in this country right now.
Well, that's happened for hundreds of years. When farmers would start revolting and speaking out, the banks would just call their loans.
Which is why it's so amazing that we have, and we'll talk about it later, this wonderful example of a correct banking system with the State Bank of North Dakota. And, another thing that you said, this is such an important issue. As I pointed out in the trailer, this is the ultimate civil rights struggle, this ability of bankers to loan governments money. The absolute total solution to this is government borrowing should absolutely be forbidden by every nation on the planet. Nations have
governments don't need to borrow, like Lincoln and Kennedy said. They issue the currency. It's backed up by them.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's their most sovereign responsibility, according to Abraham Lincoln. Not defending the nation, not doing this or that. It's to have control of the money system. That's the most important thing of a nation. And it's to the point where we've reached debt saturation.
But see, let me interrupt. This is a short segment, long one coming up, and you can roll with all your great info. But Bill, even a lot of our listeners probably go, you mean the government borrows money from bankers, but it says U.S. money? No, it doesn't. It says Federal Reserve note.
Well, that's why you always see people saying, oh, the government's printing too much money. They're not printing it. They're borrowing it. That's twice as bad.
Explain that in layman's terms.
The government is not printing money. It's borrowing money by the issuance of U.S. bonds. That's how every single dollar in your pocket is created as a debt in this country. It's the debt money system. That's what they try to hide. That's why they try to have their politicians continually say, oh, we're going to pay down the national debt. Impossible. You cannot possibly pay down the national debt, because to eliminate the national debt would be to eliminate your money, to eliminate a portion of the national debt would be to eliminate a portion of your money. We need to go to a non-debt money system where the government issues the money debt-free without the interest. It's the interest that's killing us.
And that's what the Constitution says their job is. Congress shall control the issuance of currency and credit. But I watched Bernanke before Congress telling Ron Paul, you're not allowed to even know what we're doing because you're not supposed to be involved.